If you don't have salespeople, you're losing money every day you don't have those people placed. Yeah.
But that's it. So, I mean, every month on a simple $1.2 million quota, every month that seat's empty, it's costing you $100,000 plus. They probably cost them $20,000 in interviewing time instead of paying someone an extra $5 or $10,000 that was willing to be flexible and come way down in their compensation. I think I'm the highest ranked solo recruiter on the Forbes list for the last 6 years. The reason candidates call me back is because, I don't work for clients that are dopes.
Welcome to The Growth Switch, the podcast where we dive into the strategies, struggles, and breakthroughs of bold business leaders. I'm your host, Jules Fox, growth strategist and lead content creator at Aries Media. I'm here today to uncover how today's top brands are scaling, overcoming challenges, and unlocking sustainable success. Now, for those of you just tuning in, Aries Media helps grow successful brands like yours with comprehensive, hands-on support for sales, business development, and performance marketing. And if you like things like that, go ahead and drop growth into the comments and we will show you how to do it. Today, we have a very special guest for you. We've got Rich Rosen. He's a top performing executive recruiter. He is the founder of Cornerstone Search. He is known for placing high impact sales and tech talent at record speed for some of the fastest growing companies in the US. Rich, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, great to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's get into your idea behind the company. There's a lot of recruiting firms out there. So you definitely have a unique spin and you definitely have a unique fit in the market. How did you come up with the idea?
You know what? I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing this since I was 23. And when I was actually the youngest stockbroker in the country at one point, I was in college, managing about $150 million back in the 90s when that was considered a lot of money for brokers to manage.
Yeah.
It was great. It was crushing. I was picking all the stocks for this super successful broker, telling them what companies to buy and not. Long story short, that guy went nuts. So being 21, 22, I was like, all right, let me go do something else. I came back to Boston, worked for a broker up here, took what I learned, did this rookie program, crushed it in that. I was top rookie broker at Dean Witter. And this guy, I was just making my boss, who was, you do this apprentice program kind of thing. I was making him too much money, so wouldn't let me go off on my own. And I was like, dude, that wasn't the deals. I'm going off on my own one way or the other. We ceremoniously or unceremoniously parted ways. But I learned so much as a stockbroker just on how to make cold calls, how to do outreach, how to do research, how to do everything. The things I was doing, instead of talking just to finance guys, even though I was a finance major in college, I was talking to sales folks and, just was crushing the market. I was doing way better than talking to finance guys who everyone thinks the sales guy's the liar. It's really the finance guy. That's usually the more blowing smoke. I had a friend whose dad was into recruiting years earlier. He said, I should go try it. I'll give it a whirl. And worked for manager recruiters for like 6 months. And like 10 days into the job, I made like $40,000 and I was 23. And I'm like, oh, this is so I'm like, this is fantastic. The managers wanted me to do something different. I wanted to place sales guys. They wanted me to do nursing home and stuff, which is great. But the whole industry was, going bankrupt for the most part back in the late 90s. So kind of jumping ahead. But long story short, I wanted to go do software sales. I had a manager that I had a company there were some things going on that I didn't really agree with. So I was a top rookie broker there for 6 months and then left and went on my own at 23. That's 77 recruiters. I was number one just about every single month.
Oh my goodness.
So I was just cranking. I was finding guys. My guys were crushing it, but I wasn't placing the people I wanted to place. I wanted to place salespeople. So left, started Cornerstone, and been profitable since day one. So it's been awesome working with so many amazing software companies and so many amazing people, helping them really cut through the noise on candidates. And I think so many recruiters, give the industry a kind of a bad name because they just send you garbage and it doesn't save you any time. Recruiters are an incredibly misunderstood and misused resource for companies.
Yeah.
So now, I work with venture capital firms and PE firms, bringing them potential acquisition targets, funding targets, helping companies get funding, and of course, helping them find top talent, for go to market, go to revenue generation. Because you think about a good recruiter should save their clients a lot of time and a lot of money. It's really an investment. It's truly, truly, truly not an expense if done right, especially for revenue generation, right? I'm placing guys that are asked to bring in $1 million, $1.5 million.
If you don't have salespeople, you're losing money every day you don't have those people placed. Yeah.
But that's it. So, every month on a simple $1.2 million quota, every month that seat's empty, it's costing you $100,000 plus, plus where you're losing to your competition minimum.
Yeah.
And all the time you're spending, interviewing the wrong people. It just costs companies so much money. And it's painful when I hear, oh, we don't have the budget or we don't. I mean, how do you not have the budget for salespeople? It's the hardest thing to hire for. And it's like having the Ferrari and no gas to drive it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it just makes no sense. But anyway, so, recruiters though are great resource. I just did a podcast for one of my clients whose niche is selling an amazing ERP software for SaaS, built purposely for SaaS software companies. I've got 70,000, I'm maxed out on followers on LinkedIn, and with 30,000 first level connections and another 35, 40,000 followers in addition. All of those are SaaS sales leaders and SaaS salespeople and finance people that I've done business with over 30 years that are perfect, a perfect target for this particular company. So, we did a podcast. We're going to put it up on my LinkedIn. He can put it on his stuff, but it will get him some great views for a company that just launched and it's got ridiculous funding. It's an awesome story. So you think, but recruiters are talking to people all day long in your space.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not want to take that information and use it? And the good companies do. Recruiters want to give. They want to give back, and they want to be more than just a guy flipping a resume. They want to be a partner, like your lawyer and accountant. They want to be a trusted advisor. The good ones do.
Yes.
And that's what I've always strived to do. And that's what's really made it different. Has allowed me to place, nearly 1,200 people and do a lot of amazing things, work with incredible companies and people along the way.
And it sounds like you're offering a lot more than just placing warm bodies, not even just as far as like, I'm going to get you the right people for the job, but also there's a lot more comprehensive support that you offer that goes beyond just recruiting.
I mean, I've even invested in a lot of our companies. I brought them not only investors, but I put my own money into them.
Yeah.
Or even taken equity as a fee to help a young company out that I believe in. So you become a real partner. And it makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you do really need somebody fast, when you're losing out on $100,000 a month, like you said, if you're trying to hit these sales quotas and you're missing out on that, you need somebody fast. And a lot of times, people promise, oh, sure, like 2-3 months down the line, we're going to get you something. But you've actually filled some of these positions in days and not weeks or months. What's your secret to identifying that top sales talent so quickly and placing them with the right company?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. One, it's making sure the client's got a very realistic view of the world. Just because a company says, hey, we're the best, well, it doesn't mean you're the best, right? Yeah. Sometimes you got to have a reality check with your client. Listen, you're a C trying to become a B or an A. You're not going to get the guy from your competitor for the same, for Walmart pricing. You got to have that realistic conversation. Make sure, one, they're on board with what reality really is. And we all know what the end goal is, but you got to walk before you run. So it's making sure companies really understand what they're going after, what's realistic for them to get, not just saying, sure, of course we can fill it, because that doesn't do anyone any good. For me, if I can't fill it, I'm not taking the search. And, part of the success for myself and that my clients get when they use me is, I built this amazing reputation up where when I call people, like, they actually call me back. They actually take my call because they know I don't put people into lousy situations. Like, my clients are great companies, but most importantly, we're generally great people. I don't really work for assholes. I've been way too successful to put someone purposely into a dumpster fire. All startups are always a little crazy, but there's a difference working for, people that are just, untrustworthy, shall we say, versus someone who's just in a crazy situation.
Yes.
So crazy is going to happen.
Yeah.
But the big difference between me and a lot of folks is, one, I actually care for both. I want to make sure the hiring manager, looks like a rock star. And if I put good people in front of him, he's going to look phenomenal in front of his boss. And then, they tell two friends and they tell two friends, and candidates know I'm putting in front of great companies.
Yes.
So they know that they're going to tell their friends about me. So yeah, it's been a great, simple business model.
Yeah. And, you earn that reputation over time. A lot of these recruiting agencies, they popped up in the last year or two with AI. It's just one person. They suddenly have a company, but, you've been through a lot, when you have a company that has been delivering consistently good service as long as yours has, I think that you've learned a lot of things over the years. So what mistakes are companies still making when they're trying to hire those A players, even if it's a B or C company, and they want the best talent? What mistakes are they making? Yeah,
I mean, a couple of classic mistakes. I mean, one, they demand these candidates bow to their plans. Like, this is what our comp is. We set the comp too low, but that's their problem. That's the candidate's problem. Like, no, it's your problem. Like, these guys are making, I said a situation where, a client was trying to get someone in. They couldn't understand why they were losing candidates when they were paying $30,000 below. And I
Yeah.
told them, listen, your comp at the beginning is not going to like, oh, we can move it. We can be flexible to the right people. It could be the number one rep for their competitor. And they were still like, well, we can move like $400 a month. I'm like, you're a multi-billion-dollar company in this case, pre-IPO. Like, the valuation is multi-billion dollars.
Right.
And it's like, we're not even talking an accounting error, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just, I mean, they probably cost them $20,000 in interviewing time instead of paying someone an extra 5 or 10 grand that was willing to be flexible and come way down in their compensation to
Yeah.
join this company.
Yeah.
But they get a guy in finance or an internal recruiter or a department head who's like, nope, they draw the line in the sand. Like, this is our budget. And then they use the excuse, oh, well, we came way up. Well, you started way low. I mean, so, I mean, that's just I think the classic problem of comp. Like, in your bubble, you're amazing, but to the rest of the world, you're just a bubble.
Yeah.
No one notices you. And
Yeah.
you've got to view hiring as as an investment and not just as an expense. And when you're worrying about pennies, especially for revenue generation, it's insane. So
Yeah.
you combine that, and then you add like companies that have really long, arduous interview processes, or they having people do crazy presentations that no one ever passes, and then they wonder why no one's ever good enough. It couldn't possibly be the way they're doing their final step in a lot of companies when they hire salespeople, the final steps of presentation, so make sure they can do a discovery call, which makes total sense.
Yeah.
But when you have people in there trying to pepper them, engineers asking them like technical engineering questions, and they're trying to hire someone at the end of Q1 or the end of Q2 or middle of Q4 even, these candidates are busy. That's why you're hiring them. They're good. They don't have time to study your project and know it inside and out. And then they play stump the chump, and these companies lose out on great talent. And again, it costs them tens of thousands of dollars in just man-hour time and interview time they're paying for their own people to screen. And each of their guys are making couple $100,000 a year in salary. But it's spending the time to interview. So it just seems so counterproductive.
Yeah, well, there's an irony there too, because you're trying to sell somebody on the position, and this is a salesperson. So trying to sell a salesperson, you do have to make it enticing enough, and that's the type of thing that you're able to help these companies with, right? Is to like the before end of it, like the mindset aspect of like, this is what you guys are going to need to get this the right fit, the right salesperson.
But that's it. Yeah, you totally have to get the right mindset, because hiring is a sport, man. You are not the only one they're interviewing with. If you're like them, chances are your 2 or 3 competitors like them as well. And you know what? Good companies make room for good people, and bad companies are like, no, hey, we're full. We'd rather stick with our B players and C players because we know this guy's going to fail, or hasn't closed the deal in 2 years, but we really don't want the number one rep from a competitor.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But from the recruiting side, you've got to get the company excited, to work with us, and you got to get the company excited to know how to interview and sell the position for their own company. And then you got to get the candidate excited, about the managers. And these managers, especially today, you got a lot of younger managers and older managers, I suppose, that they look for only the reasons why people shouldn't get hired. Why should I say no? Like, I always use like the Tom Brady theory. It's like a lot of these clients would rather hire like Eli Manning because he won 2 Super Bowls and Tom Brady lost 3. So clearly, I mean, Eli's better.
Right.
I mean, but that's what they look at. They don't see the 7 he won. They just see, well, last year he had a bad year, so he must be off his game and on the back 9 now.
Yeah.
Not that the company got acquired, 4 months into it and they cut the comp plan or anything else. They don't look at any of the reasons. They just see the negative and think all the success they've had in their career was forgotten.
Yeah. I mean, the world is essentially what you make of it. And if you're looking for something negative, whatever you look for, you're going to find it.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and it's easy to do, but companies right now, there's a huge thing going on in the market right now. One, hiring managers are afraid to make bad hiring decisions, which makes plenty of sense on the surface, but you're hiring salespeople. It's the hardest role to hire in a company, arguably. If you're not going to take a risk on someone who took a risk, especially if you're a startup, you're dead in the water. And if you're only going to look for people that have, stayed in a company for 10 years, 9 out of 10 of those people are not risk takers. They're not real hunters. Probably had some really cushy accounts. So you get the client side that's very scared, about making a bad hire, looking bad in front of their managers. So they just say no to everyone. And then they get fired because they didn't hire. And then you get the candidates right now who's in the middle of this whole great hesitation because no one knows from the economy whether we're coming or going. So people are like, oh, I don't know if I want to be the last one in. And do I really want to move for a lateral move for a lateral comp and take the extra risk?
Yeah.
And companies don't want to understand that people need money if they're going to move. That's what's making these guys go around. Or you've got to sell a great story. Like I can get them teed up and sell them on a beautiful story about the company. But if you don't go and continue to grow that story about where this company is going and headed and why this is a career changer and why this can be a life-changing, tax bracket changing opportunity, or the people aren't worth running through a wall for, then you're gonna have a tough time competing in this market.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So when you're thinking about all of that, you're thinking about, okay, this is the problem that I can help to solve. This is the situation that I can help to fix. How do you go about finding the right people that you can work with? How do you find the right companies who are willing to say, okay, yeah, this guy can help with our mindset. This guy can help with our expectations. He can help with a lot of different things. How do you reach the right people, the right gatekeepers to?
Yeah, I mean, one, I'm pretty particular in who I work with. I get a lot of referral business. I do a lot of outbound business, try BD as well, just because I think it's just a good skill to have. And there's certain companies you want to get in front of.
Mhm.
There's a reason but I'm the Forbes. I think I'm the highest ranked solo recruiter on the Forbes list for the last 6 years.
Wow.
I've been as high as like number 11 out of like, I don't know, they changed the number, but I think around like 40,000 firms, recruiting firms, but it's all voted by clients, which in peers, which is fantastic. So my clients are great. They refer me into a lot of people, so for me, I really look for companies that I think there's a compelling story. I think the leadership is dynamite. Like there's people you want to work for. Like I said earlier, the reason candidates call me back is because, I don't work for clients that are dopes, that are just trying to, like, I always look at it, if I wouldn't want to work there, I don't want to represent it, and life's too short to work for an asshole, to be blunt. It's kind of the number one thing I think people learned during COVID.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that I turned down a lot of business, good or bad as that is probably to say, but I fill a lot of business too. I fill a lot more than well, I know I fill a lot more than most recruiters too, but
Yeah.
it's because you work on quality and you try not to compromise, and a lot of lucky guesses sometimes, but for the most part, it's you stick to your guns about the quality of the people you want to surround yourself with, and
Yeah.
usually good things happen.
Well, I do have to say that self-respect that you have for yourself, I think that translates to the people that you work with as well. You don't want to work for an asshole, and you don't want to place the people that you're placing at companies who are assholes. So
Yeah.
I think that in itself creates like a virtuous cycle of like, well, more people are going to want to work with you. More people are going to want to work for you and connect with those people that you're working with because they know that, they see that.
I mean, listen, I kind of pride myself on being very authentic, probably too authentic for a lot of folks, but the truth's going to set you free whether you like it or not. And, those who work with me, they'll know what I'm thinking. They'll know why I'm thinking it. Everything is super nice and respectful, and we can agree to disagree. That's great. I love having a good conversation about it. And, sometimes I'll see their way, sometimes they see my way, and, but it's all done. And we're all working to the same goal is the point. Like, you get a lot of companies that, they may pay me a retainer, they may do it a contingent, whatever, but they don't have time to talk to me till 8 o'clock at night. Well, no offense, it doesn't really work for me. It's not that I'm not working, quite frankly, but if I'm that low on your priority list that you can't find 5 minutes to give me a feedback or an update during the day, I'm probably not the guy to work with.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, if it's important to you, it's important to me. If it's not important to you, why the hell is it going to be important to me? Especially if it's a small retainer, or even worse, a contingent fee.
Right.
I mean, either you're partners in the search or not. And that's, recruiting is totally a partnership. And when you work with recruiters, as a hiring managers, you guys should be working directly with that recruiter, not through your internal team. Not that the internal team isn't valuable, but getting things third hand just doesn't make any sense. It's like asking your sales guys to sell through the gatekeeper,
Yeah.
And not to the actual buyer. Defies logic to me.
Yeah. No,
So-
that absolutely tracks,
I mean,
So-
can you imagine telling your sales guy, don't bother talking to the guy who's actually buying it. Talk to their admin. That'd be great. She can get it done.
Right.
Why would you do that? Why would you waste your time in that project?
Right. No, you wouldn't. At the end of the day, you wouldn't, and they don't, So where can people find you? Where can people find you and work with you? If they're a company that wants to work with you, if they're a person who's like, hey, this guy's the real deal, he's going to place me, where do they find you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn's a great place. Email is great as well. Email's probably even better in some respects, just because LinkedIn gets really slow and bogged down. Rich at cornerstonesearch.com, my website, cornerstonesearch.com, which is in the middle of a revision. And then LinkedIn, you'll find me at Rich Rosen and Cornerstone Search.
Perfect. And for all the viewers and listeners out there, you're going to find those links right below in the show notes. Rich, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate having you on the podcast today.
Man, thanks for having me. It's great.